Welcome, young foragers. Come on in, settle into the den, shake the snow off your fur, and gather around. Today's explainer is a really special one. I want to share some ancient forest wisdom with you about surviving the long frost. We're going to talk about a concept that, honestly, so many ordinary critters completely ignore until it's just far too late. We're looking at the 5 winters, a raccoon's guide to financial independence. Now, the winter in our story, that represents retirement. You know, that time when you just don't have the energy to climb the tallest oaks anymore. And the stash? Well, that's your investment portfolio. So fluff up your tails and pay close attention, because understanding what we cover today could literally change the rest of your life in the woods.
I want you to really think about this for a second. Do you want to spend the rest of your life shivering on a high, precarious branch just to find one tiny sour crabapple? Or do you want to be the raccoon who owns the entire orchard while the snow falls softly around you? That's the ultimate choice we all face, right? It's the stark contrast between that exhausting, never-ending day-to-day scavenging and achieving ultimate financial freedom where your stockpile actually works for you.
To really understand this, let me introduce you to Scruffy. Scruffy started out as an ordinary raccoon, and he is just exhausted. I mean, his paws are incredibly sore from climbing day in and day out, his fur is hopelessly tangled with burrs, and he's staring at a financial spreadsheet he literally drew in the mud with a twig. For years, Scruffy lives day to day, foraging for leaves just to buy enough apples to survive until tomorrow. But then, he had a massive realization. Winter is coming. He realized he definitely doesn't want to be scavenging in the frost when he's way too old to climb. So, he decides to make a change. He becomes the investor raccoon. He decides to build a stockpile system, an investment portfolio that will sustain him.
Now, I don't want you to think Scruffy became some kind of financial genius overnight. Nobody starts out as a perfect investor, and let's face it, the forest is full of traps. Scruffy actually made quite a few early blunders. He once traded an entire month's worth of savings for what was marketed as a premium shiny rock. He thought it was this guaranteed high-return asset, and it turned out to be, just a piece of wet glass left behind by some campers. We all make silly mistakes when we first start trying to build our stash. The important thing is that Scruffy didn't give up. He learned from it. Okay, let's dive into this, because the absolute core of this wisdom comes down to the apple-to-leaf ratio. It's what humans call the savings rate. It's simply defined as the amount of leaves you consciously choose to stuff into your hollow log today, so that 10 winters down the road you never have to go out foraging again. Modifying your current eating habits and resisting the urge to just consume everything you find right now is exactly what dictates your long-term freedom. It's absolutely crucial to remember that it's all about how much you keep, not just how much you forage.
The 5 winters choosing your path to the frost. Let's actually explore the 5 distinct strategies Scruffy discovered so you can figure out which path suits your own furry lifestyle best. Strategy number 1 is lean fire, or the Minimalist Burrow. Choosing this path means choosing extreme discipline. Scruffy tried this, living in a very small, honestly somewhat drafty hollow. The goal here is to cover only your most basic needs. You eat only the basic green apples, absolutely no fancy treats. You skip the expensive fermented berry juice entirely. And you cut out all entertainment costs, even those super fun, expensive tail-chasing games. You are saving aggressively by living on almost nothing. But beware the risks of the Minimalist Burrow. Listen to this direct quote from Scruffy during his lean fire phase. "I saved so much I forgot to buy tail grooming wax, and now I'm a giant walking knot." It's funny, but it's a powerful cautionary tale. Lean fire requires massive discipline, but it also demands a significant sacrifice of your comfort. If you cut your expenses too close to the bone, you risk serious burnout, or in Scruffy's case, becoming a tangled, miserable mess who can't even enjoy the forest around him. Now, swinging from that complete misery to the absolute opposite end of the spectrum, we have f.i.r.e. This is also known as the luxury hollow, and this was initially Scruffy's ultimate dream. He wanted a luxury oak den with custom bark-trimmed walls, high-end gala apples imported from the next valley over, and the budget to travel to exotic premium trash cans. So the crucial point is this. While it allows for luxurious spending and expensive hobbies in your winter years, the reality is that it requires building a massive, massive hoard. And because of that, it requires the absolute longest time working and climbing to actually achieve. Which brings us to our third strategy, coast fire, or the 2-step scurry. This one is a really fascinating middle ground. Step 1, Scruffy works like an absolute maniac for his first 5 years in the forest, stuffing every single leaf he finds into his growth log. He builds a huge foundation early on. Step 2, he stops adding to that main log entirely and takes a low-stress job, maybe just casually guarding a small berry patch. And step 3, he lets the magic of compound interest do all the heavy lifting to grow that main hoard in the background until winter arrives. He basically just coasts to the finish line.
Then we have barista f.i.r.e, known around these parts as the berry patch part-timer. In this scenario, Scruffy builds a hoard just large enough that the interest alone covers his basic rent and his standard apples. But to afford the premium, spicy trash he loves and to get some good social interaction, he chooses to work part-time at the local acorn box sorting nuts. Think of this as semi-retirement. You're working because you want to stay active and social, not because you're going to starve in the snow without it. It's working by choice, totally free from survival necessity. The fifth and final path is slow f.i.r.e, the relaxed forager. Scruffy realized that sometimes he was just plain miserable when he was being too frugal. So for raccoons who really hate extreme sacrifice, this path means you save a much smaller percentage of your leaves every month. You allow yourself to enjoy those premium apples today. The trade-off? You're going to have to work your full-time foraging job for decades. It takes much, much longer to reach the winter fund, but the journey along the way is way more relaxed and pleasant. And this brilliantly illustrates the big picture. There is absolutely no single right answer here. Lean f.i.r.e is fast, but risks totally burning you out. Fat f.i.r.e gives you luxury, but it costs you the most time. Coast and barista f.i.r.e offer these clever middle ground compromises where you get to step back from the daily grind much earlier. And slow f.i.r.e, it accepts a long working life in exchange for a really comfortable present. It's all about matching the path to exactly what kind of raccoon you are and what kind of winter you truly want to have. Instead of boring human stock market charts, imagine Scruffy tracking his wealth with growing stacks of hazelnuts right on his burrow wall. Just picture him sitting in his cozy, dimly lit den. A tall, proud stack of hazelnuts means his investments are growing and compounding nicely. But a suddenly small pile? Well, that means he probably got distracted and spent way too much on designer trash that month. He looks at his chart, takes a satisfying bite of his apple, and ties on his barista apron. He knows he isn't perfect, but he is determined, and those hazelnut stacks are generally moving up and to the right. This brings us to the climax of our modern fable, Scruffy's ultimate realization. He learned that there really isn't just one perfect way to stop climbing. Whether you dream of a drafty minimalist burrow or a lavish luxury hollow, the specific path matters so much less than the fundamental action. You just have to start the stockpile. The universal secret to surviving the frost is to stop eating all your apples today so that you can own the orchard tomorrow. Because if you don't start setting leaves aside right now, you're going to be climbing those freezing branches forever. Which leaves us with this final, powerful piece of forest wisdom: raccoons together strong, but only if we plan for the frost. Knowledge is absolutely nothing without action, my young foragers. So, what's it going to be? Will you be a relaxed forager, a minimalist, or are you aiming straight for the luxury hollow? Whatever you decide, start hoarding those leaves today. The winter is coming. Will you be ready? Thank you so much for joining me in the den for this explainer. Now get out there and start building your stash.